Well, hello guys, and welcome back to another Steven Universe review. In this episode, we're taking a look at Season 5, Episode 26, Familiar. Before we get into it, I just want to say that I took 2 days off for Christmas, and of course I come back and I am sick. So, if this sounds bad, correction, if this sounds worse than usual, that's why. But Familiar, our new episodes, we're finally back, finally with a new episode after... Has it been like... It feels like it's been like years at this point, but that's just because 2018 feels like it's been eternally long. I mean, people were eating Tide Pods at the beginning of the year, and nobody seems to remember anymore, just because that's how long the year has felt. But yeah, it's been forever, but hey, we're finally back with a new episode. And I feel like I've talked about this before, but I'm just gonna restate it. This show gives me anxiety, man. Just thinking about this show and like what's going to happen and how it's going to happen it gives me anxiety. Normally, if I was a normal person, I would just do the smart thing and just ditch the show and stop thinking about it. But because I do this for a living, well, okay, that's not true. I haven't got paid for doing these videos in like 2 years. I'm going to still do them, and I'm going to make myself suffer. It's actually not. It's anxiety building up to the episode. Actually watching it, I still really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed this episode. This is a really good, really solid episode. It's just actually, like, getting here. That sucks. But the actual episode, let's just get into it. It starts off, remember, Lakes to Homeworld ended off with Steven being sent to Pink Diamond's room. And we see him in Pink Diamond's room, and he says he wants to lay down, and all of a sudden a bed pops out of the ground. A stool does, and he looks inside, and there's these little fellas. And he's able to look inside the room works and see all these little fellas, and they're cute, right? And they're really excited, because, hey, Pink Diamond's back. We haven't seen her for so long. They call themselves Pebbles. Now, the first time I watched the episode, because one of them says along the lines of, "Oh, silly Pink, always pretending she doesn't know who we are." I didn't hear them in the next line say that they're called Pebbles. So later on, when Steven calls them Pebbles, I was like, did he just make that up? Because my problem is, Pebble, like, diamonds are a real thing, right? Diamonds are a type of rock. Pearls, amethysts, garnets are all, like, real types of rocks. Pebbles aren't. Like, they don't have, like, they may, it's been a while since I've taken a geology class, but they may be like a classification of, like, the size of a rock. Not like a grain class like we see in sediments, but they're like a classification of size. They're not actually a type. And because I didn't hear their name the first time, I figured they were, because they have, like, shape-shifting powers, kind of like Bismuth, and I know all gyms do, but Bismuth uses her shape-shifting powers more than anyone else. So I figured they were like some type of clay, especially with their gray coloring. They kind of remind me of clay, but they're cute little buggers. I really like them, but yeah, they're Pebbles. And then Pearl shows up because she's allowed to bring Steven his things, and she's considered one of her things, which, yeah, that's still sad. But then Yellow Diamond's Pearl shows up and is taking them to the extraction chamber. Now, there's a lot of... when you hear extraction chamber, there's a lot of things you think of. Like, I think of... didn't Peridot say something way back in Season 2 about how she was worried Rose was going to extract her when she was in the room with all the other bubble gems? Or she said something along those lines. But the extraction chamber is just a sauna. Which we'll get to. But we see in the walls, there's like all these faces in the walls, and this is like and for some reason, like, the building has faces in it, and I've had a theory about this 2 years ago now, actually, 2016. I wrote a theory that I've referenced offhand once or twice called gym batteries. And that's what this reminds, and I may have to, I called it the lost theory because I lost the file, but I may have to dig that one back up again and take another stab at it. Last theory I'll ever do, because I consider it the forgotten theory, the lost theory. But it kind of talked about stuff like this, but I think this is, but as I'll talk about I think this is just a motif of Homeworld. But yeah, they get into the sauna. I love Yellow Pearl, the pink lasagna joke. That's pretty funny. I like the topazes. I hope, okay, so something's going to happen in this episode that they're going to set up something, and something's going to happen. I hope we see the topaz we saw and stuck together again, and I hope when the Gems have to escape Homeworld, which we'll get to again, I hope we see the yellow topaz again that we saw and stuck together, and she escapes with them. That'd be really cool. I think that would tie everything neatly together in a bow. I hope that happens. But yeah, in the sauna, it's Steven talking to Yellow and how, oh yeah, that's the most anyone said to Yellow in years. And Steven says, oh, well, if you want to talk to her, just fail. That's great. This whole interaction with Yellow is great. I love it. You know, when I was doing the Endgame video, I remember saying, my thing was, I was like, okay, something's wrong. My problem was I couldn't think of Yellow's motivation. Like, I know Blue Diamond's motivation. Her motivation is Pink Diamond. So, what's Yellow's motivation? I mean, we know she's angry and she's the space giraffe, but we don't actually know, like, what drives Yellow, why she does what she does. We kind of get it. This is probably the most we've gotten from her, where we see her motivation is kind of pink. And that's really interesting. I want more of Yellow Diamond, because in this little snippet we get of her, she's great. I really enjoyed this moment, and I hope we see more of her. She's funny. She takes on a serious nature, but just everything about it works. Great scene. But then eventually she gets chimed out because she has to go check on a Citron report. And as she checks out, it's like all of a sudden she starts like super sweating, and all of a sudden all the sweat goes down into like a drain and the sauna goes away. But what confuses me is like, it looks like the sweat's like glowing, and I mean that could just be how they designed water for this thing. But it feels like something's going on here, and I mean there's 3 possibilities here that I can think of off the top of my head with my limited imagination. The first one is that nothing's going on and we're just reading way too much into this. You know, the whole thing about how in the story the door is blue, the teacher says the door is blue because it represents sadness, and the author says the door is blue because he likes the color blue. Right? This could be one of those scenarios where we're just reading way too much into it, which I'm not going to throw out the window, right? Occam's razor. The second scenario is like, I think of like where they're like literally expelling excess energy. I mean, it's called the extraction chamber. And because Yellow's the futurist, she's doing that through, she's doing it through like a sauna, whereas we see Blue, she does it through a bath. Right? That would make sense. I'm fine with that. My problem is when you get Pink Diamond into the equation, I mean, how does that entirely work? Because Steven's been on Earth, and while, yeah, you can take baths on Earth, you get my problem. I'm thinking in like, what happens if you store too much of it up? I mean, is this a Madoka Magica situation? I feel like I've been referencing that show all week. I need to stop thinking about that. Ugh. Or the third one is that, like, it's literally like her like removing her sadness and thinking about, right? It's making her prioritize her work, like literally removing what she doesn't need, which is like she's purposefully doing it to herself. It's kind of like the sauna in that Rick and Morty episode, you know, where they removes your negative emotions. That's another way I can think of it, because last time we saw the diamonds, they had what? Yellow had like 7 colonies, Blue had 7, and White, I want to say, had 14, including Homeworld. Those numbers may not be exact, but don't at me. And Pink had her 1, of course. And since then, in the past like 5,000 years, we know Yellow says in this moment she has over 100 colonies, or 100. So she may even have 1,000 at this point. But, right, Yellow, I could see her, like, removing her energy, so that way she cannot think about Pink, who died, and we'll get more into in a minute, and think more about her work, right? When at the loss of her child, she's the parent who didn't want to think about it, and instead submerged herself into her work, right? And yeah, no, that's an interesting way to look at it. Well, and that's how the show's been leading. I mean, a lot of what I'm going to talk about here today, we've known since probably That Will Be All way back in season 4. But I'm going to reiterate on all of it because I feel like this episode does a great job at highlighting all of it again. And it just works so well. It does it so well. We see, we see the floor, like, as it sucks up everything, it's in, because this is a more modern building, and I mean, you can tell that just by the architecture. Like, when we get to Blue's building, it looks more traditional, while Yellow's is more sleek, for lack of a better word. But we see the modern diamond logo, right, with the 3 diamonds overlapping in the black diamond. If I had a prediction for this arc that I forgot about, because I just completely forgot this was a thing, we're going to see Black Diamond. Because I'm assuming Black Diamond's a fusion of the 3. Either that or Black Diamond is a replacement for Pink, which I don't love either. But I think we're going to see Black Diamond. Just a prediction, and again, we will get back to that. Because again, Steven's going to do something, and if he fails, then it's going to take a trajectory for the complications, right? But we'll get to at the end of the episode. So then then Blue's Pearl appears and takes him to the Blue's bath chamber. I love Blue's little line about how, oh, welcome back. Blue's Pearl is interesting. But we see, right, Blue is in the bath combing her hair, and we see her like a cup with like a toothbrush and a comb and whatnot in it. And I think, well, and because outside Blue's bath, you also see the statues are alive and whatnot. And I think that just leads to our motif of Homeworld. The motif of Homeworld is that everything is alive. There is nothing special to it, maybe. But just, if they have gyms, they're just going to work gyms into everything, so everything is alive. That's just my interpretation of it. That, again, there may not be, like, some special meaning to it, like, oh, these are destroyed gyms or whatnot. But this is just literally how Homeworld designs everything, with gyms built into everything. I mean, everything has its purpose, and if your purpose is to be a ceiling tile, you're going to be a ceiling tile. I don't know, it's a Occam's razor thing, but I think it makes sense. We see Blue in the bath, and she sees I still love Blue. I know she's a wubby, right, and she's someone you're supposed to feel bad for and sympathize with. But I kind of love characters like that. I'm a sucker. Come on. If you've been watching me for long enough, you should know that. And yeah, I love Blue Diamond in this moment. Because for the most part, it's just her reminiscing about back when they used to be a family, back when everyone used to come to the bath. She has this little story about Pyrite that I think is adorable. Again, it's another great moment. I love Blue Diamond. Everything works here. But yeah, we find out that, yeah, they used to be a family. And of course, we know, like I said earlier, we know from That Could Be All, when Pink Diamond died, I use quotes, well, for all intents and purposes, as far as they knew, she was dead. So yeah, Blue went into depression. She stopped working. She presumably stopped doing anything. I mean, I would not be surprised if she still only had 7 colonies. Which is kind of what I had theorized for a while, but that clearly didn't happen. But yeah, Blue just went into depression, and yeah, I completely get it. Again, when losing a child, that's a logical step to take with it. But yeah, Blue reminisces about how, oh, now that they're not a family anymore, she's been so lonely since Era 2, because we know, right, the death of Pink Diamond starts the second era. And yeah, no, it's another really it's just a little talking scene. A lot of this episode is spent just talking, but I love that. I love characters are just able to get out what they need to say, even though Steven surprisingly gets out nothing, right? Everything he wants to say gets blocked. But yeah, it's just a nice little scene, and Steven basically is wanting them to be a family again, and we'll get to that. And then we see, Steven, after Blue has to leave to go do something else, so we see Steven and Pearl back at Pink's room, overlooking White Diamond's head. You know, it's funny, I never even thought of this, but Blue perfectly says it in this episode. White Diamond's been in her own head, we literally see, so right, what, because after the death of Pink, right, they used to be a family. They all used to hang out like a family. But since Pink died, Yellow went into her work, Blue went into depression, White got lost in her own thoughts. She is literally in her own head, literally and metaphorically, because she's in her head. It's really, it's not subtle, but it's clever, and it's a motif that's been built up with, like, the arms and whatnot, and the legs, and the stupid butt. It's something that has been built up, and I think it works really well. Because all three of our diamonds, how they act, are responses to the loss of their child. Which is another great thing the show does, because as we've seen in, like, previous episodes, and, I'm gonna use 3 Gems and a Baby as the primary example. When the Gems lost Rose when she became Steven, right, you see how it affected them, how they grew up after the death of Rose, because they looked really young in, like, any of the flashback episodes, but after 3 Gems and a Baby, they, like, rapidly grow up. This is the exact opposite, right? After the loss of a child, we're seeing how each of these affect, and it's kind of like them forcing to change. It's not mirroring itself, but it's rhyming. And I love that. I love that it's able to show, like, oh, this is where our characters were, and now after the loss of someone they love, this is where they all are now. It all interconnects really well. And then we get our song. I was not expecting a song, especially maybe because I'm expecting a song next time, which we will get to. But it starts off with Steven talking about, oh, who was Pink? He wants to know who Pink was and what he can do. And the Pebbles start working in the background, and we get the song Familiar. Now, I've talked about this before, how, like, my mother is a fan of this show. My mother is willing to watch whatever because she has no taste. And because of that, I can introduce her to good shows like Secretly. Oh, God. But, okay, so I was over, this episode aired Christmas Eve, and I was over at my parents' place for Christmas, and I was with my mother watching this episode, and my father was in the other room, and he pointed out that this song sounds like Yentl. If you don't know, Yentl was a musical with Barbra Streisand in it. You may also remember earlier this year when Deadpool 2 pointed out that, Papa, Can You Hear Me sounds a lot like Do You Want to Build a Snowman, which is spot on. But yeah, my father pointed out that this song sounds like Yentl, and so I went and listened to Yentl, because I hadn't heard it in ages, and he nailed it. He nailed it. That's exactly what this reminds me of. If you're curious, just listen to the first song in Papa, Can You Hear Me? It sounds very similar. Right on the head. Right, nail on the head. I'm super impressed. But yeah, we see Steven go through Pink's room, go to her, like, she has like is it a vanity mirror? Is that what it's called? I wouldn't know. Just don't fill up the comments. Just don't fill up the comments. And she sees all these drawings of the diamonds and the pebbles and whatnot. And yeah, they used to be a family. It's reminding him of his family. Which, he gets Pink's outfit and he realizes that what he did was he was able to make his family whole again, right? The Gems would drop everything to be with him. So now he's going to try to get the diamonds to drop everything to be with him, to be with Pink again. It rhymes, but it's not the exact same. Because again, the setting's different. It's still a broken family, but how the family is broken is different. It's great. But at the end of the song, he says something, and just play the clip.
I'll show them all the error of their ways and stop their spread of terror across space.
You're unbearably naive.
Yeah, no, I get it. His ambitions are pure, and knowing this show, that will probably work. Knowing this show, he will probably succeed eventually. But yeah, no, I think he's naive. I think Steven is naive. And that may seem like I'm insulting it, right? Like, oh, he's stupid. But again, like I said, the show this could totally happen. But I also like a character like this who's motivations are doomed to fail. I know we make fun of, like, horror movie, right? Like, there's the whole thing that, oh, we hate when horror movies, I'm thinking the cinema sins, because screw cinema sins, but where they're like, oh, why didn't the character make this choice? Why are they making such a stupid choice here? But if you ever saw, like, a horror movie where the characters only make smart decisions, that would be boring as shit. And yeah, if Steven made a more safe, boring decision, that would be boring as shit. So I'm perfectly fine with him doing something naive. I like that. I'm gonna be honest. I think this has a lot of potential. And then Pearl mentions Pink Diamond's court earlier, and I thought she was going to get Pink's court, but she goes and gets Garnet, Amethyst, and Connie, which is Steven's court. So yeah. That's nice. I do hope we do see Pink Diamond's court, though. I feel like they could be I wanted a lot of gyms who are, like, very, like, energized, like Rose was, or Pink. I hope we see that at some point. But yeah, now everyone's here, everyone's together. Yeah, that's gonna be fun. And Steven says that to get the family back together, to get all the diamonds talking again, to make it like how it used to be, he's gonna throw a party. Which, yeah, no, I'm totally on board with that. That sounds cool. Again, now, I've been building this up the entire time. I think Steven's party is going to fail. I really do. Just because it's just, how else do you do it, right? Like, because, if there was, okay, I'm going to phrase this. Let's say there was 48 episodes left this season. And we didn't know there was going to be a 6th season? Or let's say, no, not there. But let's say, okay, so season 5 had a total of 48 episodes. If this episode had aired and we did not know there was going to be a 6th season, I would think he's going to win, and then we're going to spend the last 16 episodes wrapping everything up. Right? But now that I know we have another 24 episodes after this, which isn't technically that big of a difference. I think it's like the difference of 8 episodes? But 8 episodes is a lot. Because there's still another season after this, we know Steven's going to fail. I don't know what they're going to do for another season if Steven succeeds and is able to convince White Diamond to join their side and they go and heal the corrupted gems. How are they going to get this out to another season? That's something I just don't get. So that's why I think Steven is destined to fail. Which sucks, but it's just the scenario we've put ourselves in. By knowing there's another season that's guaranteed to happen, that probably won't be a spin-off, in that, I think it's called Battle of Heart and Mind, is in 2 weeks, and it's like a 45-minute special. We know that's going to happen. Right? We know something big's going to happen, and my guess is he's going to fail. So, and then that's what I was talking about earlier, about how Steven, after he fails, he's going to flee homeworld and head back to Earth, in which the diamonds are coming for him, or at least White is. Because my hope is, I worry that when Steven fails, he makes Yellow and Blue villains again, which I really don't want. I want them to still be here. Again, I enjoyed how they did Yellow and Blue's character in this episode. So I hope when he fails, White blames Yellow and Blue as well, and they have to flee to Earth with them. And again, I hope we see Topaz again, right? That's their escape pod. I can see this, and I can see the setup here. I can see spending some time on Earth. Because we see her, like, when Blue's talking to Steven, she's the only one willing to call Steven. But then she says, oh, Pink, you're so funny. She's still not taking him seriously, which, I mean, I know escapism addresses next week, which, how crazy is it that we're finally getting escapism? I feel like this is an episode that we've known existed for like a year now, more or less, and now we're finally getting it next week. And it's and of course, my expectations are nothing, because because I feel like we were supposed to get it ages ago, and then now we're getting it now. And is it supposed to have a song? Because I feel like people said there's a song called Escapism, but this episode had a song, and Reunited had a song, and that was just 2 episodes ago. And then, if I'm going to take a guess, Day of Story and Song is going to have a song as well, because it's a season finale. Why wouldn't you give it a song? You're presumably setting it in a party situation. Why not give it a song? Right? Why not? I still want my White Diamond villain song, because that just sounds... Because this show needs... I mean, What's the Use of Feeling Blue is a fine villain song, but I want something true. I want something grand, and I hope White Diamond can deliver that. I really do. But yeah, we'll see how Battle of Heart and Mind plays out. We shall see. It's only 2 weeks away. And yeah, escapism, that's next week. Next week is escapism. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. Until next time, peace.